Sorry I'm late.
No, that's all right.
This is traffic.
I'm just about ready.
Okay. What?
Well, I just got back from Spain.
Oh.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell you, Pat, it was really cool. I met this guy there, contacted us through Doug and Pat show. His name's Gaspar. He absolutely just loves us and really loved me. It was just fantastic. He brought in a couple guitars, and we looked at his guitars and we played them a little bit. And I made him go get us some wine, and then I said, Gaspar, when you're getting the wine, why don't you also get some cheese? And and then he said, well, maybe we could go out to dinner. And so Gaspar's taking us to dinner, and I tell you, he absolutely just loved it. He kept saying over and over again in Spanish. He kept saying awesome, awesome, which in Spanish is que lástima.
Is what?
Que lástima. That means awesome in Spanish. Yeah. So anyway, I had Gaspar film this thing for you because you weren't there. And I said, Gaspar, here's a little note to Pat because, you don't fly and you couldn't go to Spain. So I said, it's in Spanish. So I sent it to our Doug and Pat Show translation team, and they translated it for us. But anyway, so here it is right now. This is Gaspar.
Okay.
Aquí estamos en Málaga con mi amigo nuevo, Gaspar. Bienvenido, Gaspar. How about a little bit of a welcome for Pat, who couldn't be with us because he doesn't fly. This is Gaspar, true Spanish gentleman and guitar player.
Pat, no sé qué me has traído a España, pero te entiendo. Este tío no debería haber venido a España, ni cruzado la frontera. Estoy asombrado de tu paciencia. De verdad, llévatelo, no lo aguanto. Es un pesado, me ha cogido mi guitarra, no sabe tocar. Se cree que sabe de guitarra, pero no tiene ni puta idea. Llévatelo.
Isn't that great? So that was pretty funny, wasn't it?
Yeah.
This is a new pipe?
It is. This is a Wellington pipe made in England.
Where are your other pipes made?
Ireland.
Ireland.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Peterson pipe made in Ireland.
Oh, yeah. Do you have any...
Before I forget, I did get a call from Billy. He said he is going to make every effort that he can to be on the Doug and Pat show.
Really?
He did. Yeah.
So we got that going for us.
Yeah. So stay tuned.
What else can you say?
That's better.
Yeah. I think it's so great that that Billy calls you, stays in touch. Because if he didn't, and then you got upset with him, I don't think he needs that at this point in his career.
No.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a lot of closed doors, I think, for him.
Yeah. It's, it is pretty cool because, at this stage of his career, this could be kind of.
It almost feels weird that we have to say it because probably everyone thinks.
I'm not going to say it.
No.
I didn't say
we'll
it.
edit this part out.
I didn't say it, Bill.
No. But it's good though that he's checking in with you because I think when he does, it's sort of a little bit of like an idea for him as to which way to turn career-wise.
Yeah.
I mean, besides, he can't get a gig other than playing in Cuba or something like that.
Yeah.
But he knows, and I know that you do this because you're a benevolent guy, is that the door's always open here. And so it's great that he makes that promise.
Yep.
Because that would be a lot, I think, of disappointed Doug and Pat Show fans.
Well, we'll just see if he keeps his word. And I'm sure he will. I'm sure he will.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. So.
I was thinking about, not to change the subject or anything, because we could talk about Billy for a while.
Yeah.
And maybe we will a little bit later. I was thinking about this business that we're hearing about, that I never really ever thought about at all, which is the wiring harness on electric guitars. And so because we're endlessly curious sort of people, we've been getting some from people because they think that we should know about it.
Well, and people say they make a big difference to their ears. So
We did get, when John Gundry from Throwback sent us the pickups to demo, he also sent us one of their wiring harnesses, which was kind of like, oh, okay. And it has the little bumblebees on it, caps, little bumblebee caps, like what they used to put in the old guitars. So,
those are, what do they call it? Oil, paper, and
we have it written,
something.
oil in paper.
Oil and paper cap.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, like when we used to, in the old days, we used to like clean carburetors in our house.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would, then we would have oil and paper then too.
Yeah.
And so I guess it's like that.
Or, yeah. Okay.
Because we have these wiring harnesses and people are asking us about it, I think that we should probably explore that a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah. Just to be sure that we're talking about the same thing. This is one that we got. That's a wiring harness. The wiring harness is all the wires that aren't the pickup. It includes the pots, the caps, and the wires, including, for some people, the switch, the jack, everything.
Right.
All the wires. The idea is that there's a difference between the value of the potentiometers, the quality of the solder, and these little guys right here, which are the capacitors. In this case, these are also oil in paper.
Okay.
So what these caps are. So we thought what we would do is we would have a show that would see if that's really true, if they actually really make a difference. So what we've done is we've taken the Heritage H150. It's right here. It has the Throwback SLE 101s in it that we're using for that. And it has the Throwback wiring harness in it with those bumblebee caps. And then we've got some of these wiring harnesses that are in different values. 500K, and they quality control them so that what they do is they read them on the meter. All these, the pots are all CTS. I don't know if there are like not any other pots available or something. The originals were Central Lab in the original old guitars. And we're also kind of curious as to how the new wiring harnesses compare to the old ones. Not just how they sound, but also, it's called the taper on them.
Right.
And it's how quickly they turn on, like this. This is a special, it has P90s obviously, so it's kind of noisy, but this is very smooth. It feels what our ear would probably call linear. So it goes like that. But they have a different name for it, and the marketing on these, they call these vintage taper. Makes sense to me. And this is a characteristic we found of all these vintage guitars. That's the volume control. But how about the tone control? Does the tone change as you bring it down linearly? Yes, it does, doesn't it? So I'm going from 0 to 10, 0. And there's a change on every number. We're going to compare this old style of this taper of the pot to the new ones that they come in, because don't you sort of think that if you're a player you might have a preference? What do you prefer?
Well, first of all, I prefer a 500K pot.
As opposed to,
A 700.
what does that mean?
As opposed to a 250K
What does that
pot.
mean, though? We don't even.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. But so we've had this discussion a little bit before because the Heritage. When I got this guitar, this guitar had two 50K pots in it, as was pointed out by one of our viewers. I sort of thought in the old days that 4 knob guitars had 500s and 2 knob guitars like Junior's had 250s or Stratocasters. I didn't know.
What would have possibly made you think that?
I don't know. Simple arithmetic.
Well, yeah.
Simple arithmetic
Yeah.
or multiplication tables. But somebody pointed out that those 250K pots are not as bright as 500K pots. And I guess 525K pots are brighter than 500s. Holy come on, I
I wonder
know.
if there's a noticeable difference in a 500 and a 500K other than maybe a little bit brighter? Or why is it a little brighter?
Good question. We have that exact wiring harness in. We have a 500K, a couple of them, and then we have one that's a 525K measured exactly like that. In the Heritage right now, we have the throwback pickups, but we also have the throwback wiring harness, or did have the throwback wiring harness because we swapped them out. And we're going to compare these different ones played through the Vox AC10 Super Reverb Twin.
Okay.
And also because people have asked about, oh, maybe you guys could play through like another amplifier that's cleaner. Okay, so we're playing it through a mid-60s Fender Blackface Deluxe
Okay.
Reverb. And we're kind of going to go like this. We're going to go... And on the tone control. And find out where that taper is. And if it makes a difference. So as we go through the different ones, we will put on the bottom of the screen what's going on. So you can see where the controls are set as the tone's being changed, at what point is that knob set, what point is the volume set. Because here's another reason why. Lastly, before you go and get some tea, which we're going to go get some tea, the volume control on these guitars, because of the, are you ready for this? The capacitance
Okay.
or the resistance, they get brighter the more you turn them up, and they get darker the more you turn them down. So what happens is, if you are a player, the difference between the setting on the volume control between, let's say, 8 and 10 is not just a volume difference, it's a tone difference. It's a brightness difference. And that can make a lot of difference depending on your pickup selection and your amplifier, and you should be aware of that. So essentially the volume control is also the tone control. If you're looking to get a cleaner sound and a little bit darker sound, by turning the volume control down on almost all these guitars, the taper is the important aspect here, that they get less bright at the same time that the volume goes down. If you use that knowledge for good and not for evil,
Okay.
if you know that when the volume goes to 10, if it's a little bit brighter, using the tone control in conjunction with that, you now actually have 2 knobs that are going on that affect tone, not just one, which is the tone control. There's so much to remember on these things. Remember the old days where, you know, we just used to just plug them in and play them?
Les Paul Jr., and 2 knobs.
Knobs,
One
and we only
pickup.
used one.
That's right.
Okay, that's the challenge. We're going to explore all this stuff, and we're going to talk about the wiring harnesses that we have. We'll be right back. Whoa. Oh! Camera's on. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start out with the Heritage that has the throwback wiring harness in it.
Okay.
And that wiring harness is a 500K wiring harness. An interesting thing, according to a lot of people, a lot of the guitar manufacturers who are offering the wiring harnesses, they're saying that the original Gibson ones, Central Lab, a lot of times were higher than 500K. So that you can order a pot, I guess, and it may say 500K on it, but it doesn't mean it's 500K. So how do you get some predictability to all this? We were contacted by a guy named Vic from his company is called String Tone Theory, and Vic proposed to us a couple months ago, I'll make you some wiring harnesses that I offer for sale. And he quality controls them, so he also uses CTS pots, and he measures them so that he gets that number exact.
Huh.
Which they look like this. So this is one of his harnesses. He also uses an extra thick grounding wire because he wants you to not solder, if you're going to pull the pickups out all the time, which we do, don't solder it to the back of the pot because over a period of time it can cause damage. Use the grounding wire as the ground for all of your grounds.
Makes sense.
It does. He sent us 2 wiring harnesses. One of them measures out at 500K. And it comes with the oil and paper, or paper and oil, whatever it is, caps. These are military grade Russian caps that he likes, and he thinks they sound real good. We will find out with that. He sent us another one, another wiring harness that looks exactly like this, and that specs out at 525K. So is there really a difference, audible difference between 500K and 525K? Not just for the volume, but for the tone control. The caps are the same. So we'll start the demos with the throwback harness, which we've had in the Heritage now for a while, and the pickups are the throwback SLE 101s. And I'll play them through the Vox AC10 Super Reverb Twin, and then a Black Face Deluxe Reverb. Then we'll start swapping the harnesses out, and we will show you on the screen which one is which, and let's see if we can hear a difference.
Now, I think when you open that box, didn't he call one of these harnesses a Doug?
I didn't want to talk about that. I didn't want to say it, but, you know, this is the way that this goes on the Doug and Pat Show. One of the harnesses, that is the 525, is a little brighter than the 500. The 500K one is called the Pat.
And it's not as bright as the...
I guess that's the situation. That's to be determined. It's Pat. It's to be determined. We don't know yet. But what we're going from is that the other one is called the Doug. So, we are, can we just,
Okay.
let's listen to some guitars. So now that we've done that first demo, let's kind of revisit it again to see what we're doing. So you probably noticed that I'm turning the knobs on the guitar, and this is about the taper, you know, that is how much you turn the volume control. How does it come up linearly? Not necessarily that one type of taper is better than another, but you should know what it is that you're getting. And you might ask the companies that make them, like Throwback and the other guys, that String Tone Theory, Doyle, Killing Floor, whatever it is that you're getting, and ask them about that taper thing. But let's talk about a vintage taper, because how do you know it's a vintage taper? I mean, not you, but how do your friends know?
They just ask me.
They ask, and how do you know?
And I tell them.
You know because of this.
Right.
So this, of course, is the blonde with the curls, Jane. This is, of course, the early 60, 59 spec burst, original. So we thought what we'd do is we'd go like this. This is vintage spec pot, just like we did with the Les Paul Special. So what I'm doing in the video is, you see I'm turning them and then I'm giving you the number. And the idea is, what's the difference between when it's on 10, when it's on 7, when it's on 5, when it's on 2, and that would be for the tone control. And the same thing for the volume pot, because we know that the volume pot does get brighter the higher it goes. Is it true for the original vintage guitars, especially the most collectible ones? Treble position, we'll just, the tones on 10, we'll bring the volume up now. Eight, 9, 10. So this is between 5 and 10. I'm going to go 10 down to 5. Back up. It's getting brighter and it's getting lighter. It does not have a bump on the end. You know, some of them.
Right.
It's like, so you get it on between 8 and 10. Go. I don't think that that's a desirable thing. God, we're going to hear about this from people who are into pipes.
That got them their PAFs? Then?
PAFs.
Okay.
If you could say it right, it would be refreshing.
Okay.
Okay, let's go to the tone control on the PAFs.
Let's do it.
Okay, volume's on 10. Zero. So now I'll go back and forth on it like this. You ever played this guitar?
Never.
0. 5. 10. Let's see how smoothly it goes down. Does it make any difference between 10 and 5? So I'll go from 10 to 5. It does. Mm-hmm. It has a subtle roll-off, which in conjunction with that treble control that is called a volume control, that's a huge difference. That's a huge range to work with. Let's go from 5 down to 0 slowly. And back. Five to 10. Not as exaggerated between 5 and 10 as it is between 5 and 0, but there is something there that you can fine-tune that guy with. If you just play like a... Everything's on 10, put this on 8. 5. 3. 0.
That their woman tone, is it?
Woman.
Yeah. Their woman.
Yeah, that's right. Here's the... I think that woman tone you can get on the neck. PAF.
Right.
PAF. Sometimes you'll hear these things kind of crackle a little bit because sometimes people don't play the guitars too much.
Or it's got a bad chord.
Sometimes people just leave them in their vaults, which is where it is most of the time. That's treble on 10. Let's put it on 5. Volume on 10. Okay, now we're going to play it. Volume's on 10, tones on 5. Now we're going to roll it down to 2. And now 0. Woman tone. So as we play the other guitars and I'm turning the tones, the idea is I give you the number and then you say, okay, that's what it is at that setting, and then it goes between 5 and 3. Is there a difference? That would be about what the taper is about. So that's kind of the idea there. And that's what a real burst sounds like, with the real tone pots and the real PAFs.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, let's get back to testing guitars. Okay, so that was our show on those wiring harnesses, but I think that there's something about, I have to say this without tearing up. I really think that we're so lucky to be able to deal with these guys that make these pickups and these wiring harnesses. You know, we were talking, it kind of reminds me of a long time ago when we were just little babies.
Mm-hmm.
Where everyone could really care a lot about the stuff they made and the customer service that they had.
Oh yeah.
And nowadays I think a lot of that stuff is gone, but it's not gone here. You can call up or you can email, you can talk to the people who make these pickups, and now the wiring harnesses, and if you're into as much detailed information as we are about that, so are they. We we're in communication with them all the time, and I think it's just great.
These are guys that, we're all in that same wavelength.
We are worldwide too.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's a great thing.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but we really are a big community of people who like the same thing, and it's not getting really a lot bigger because we are all of us are really pretty much demanding about great tone and vintage tones and stuff like that. So I really hate to see it when people attack each other about it, you know, because because it's still art. It's really subjective. Is this wiring harness better than that wiring harness? I don't know. That's up to you. We're just trying to show you that they can differ, and also comparing them to the vintage guitars, because always if it's a vintage spec, what does vintage mean compared to the vintage instruments?
Yes.
Didn't you have get a thing from Tyson about exactly what we're talking about?
Yeah. You know, some guy just notified him, you know, saying, you know, you've got your nerve to ask this much for your pickups, and they don't sound that great, and that he bought a set of pickups for $60 or something that sound fantastic, and you know, you've got your nerve charging this for yours, and you know.
It's not so much, don't you think, that he's right or that he's wrong. It's just that, as what we've talked about before, is that everybody gets to make their choice of what it is that's special.
Yep.
It's like, you know, you can go to Trader Joe's and you can buy, it's called $2 Chuck. It's a couple dollars for a bottle of wine. Or you can buy, like, because I was in Spain recently. Did I tell you that?
No.
I was in Spain.
No.
2 months.
That's right. You met a guy named Gaspar?
Gaspar. Mi amigo nuevo.
See?
And he has a band. It's called they're called New Eggs. Nuevo Huevo.
Nuevo.
Or Huevo Nuevos.
Nuevo.
I think
Aren't you supposed to put an L before that?
Shut up.
El Nuevo.
You don't know anything. But it's not really so much a matter of whether the guy thinks that Tyson makes great pickups or anybody makes great pickups. It's the fact that it's such an ignorant thing to say when you're saying, I don't care enough about my tone to realize that there is a difference, and I'm blaming you. It's like, just don't say anything. You don't have to buy the pickups.
That's right.
But we're trying to show that maybe there could be a difference in there. Anyway, so we're on our
If you don't want to swim in these waters,
get out of the pool. Hey, mailbox time.
okay?
Mailbox time before we go. So this is also kind of fun because we hear from people all over the place. We got a email from a guy in New Zealand. Want to wish a get well to Rick Smith in New Zealand. He's used to be in a band just like we did, and here's a photo of him in his band. It looks just a lot like the band photos that we would have. He's the second one on the right. So Rick, our brother, get well. Hey, we want to thank Vic from String Tone Theory for sending us those wiring harnesses. You can go to his website and get more information on that. And John at Throwback for the wiring harness, and we're going to be
Now, what's John's last name?
Gundry.
Gundry.
Yeah.
Gundry.
And
He's the guy with the bodyguard.
Yes, and the attorney.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to talk about that according to our attorney.
Well, our bodyguard would like to talk to his bodyguard.
Yeah,
He's got a thing or two to say.
outside.
That's right.
In the alley.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, we digress. So anyway, thanks guys for that. Go to our website, thedouganpatshow.com. You can buy all the latest fashions, which are kind of the fashions that we're wearing right now. You can get the small logo, you can get the large logo, you can get the hat, short sleeve, long sleeve. Make Doug and Pat rich.
Please.
There's sort of sagging on that. We need to sort of
Please.
move that around a little bit. Okay, looking forward to some other shows coming up. Anything else you have to say, Patrick, at this time?
No,
Is that about it?
that's about it. That's
We'll get into a little bit more of Pat's fashion sense coming up. I don't want to give away any secrets on that. Thanks, guys. I'm Doug.
and I'm Pat.
See you next time.
Bye.